Now let's begin. Cross your legs in the center of your shins, feet beneath your knees, shoulders over your hips, resting your hands lightly on your thighs, upper arms dangling by your side ribs. You know, that transition from the outer world towards the inner world, taking stock of this moment, observing this moment, studying this moment. Finding the even balance of the sits bones. Finding the lengthening of the inner groins from the lower abdomen to the inner knees, from the inner knees to the lower abdomen, lengthening. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the hips together. But maintain the releasing of the inner thighs as you draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, as you compact the hips together. So the inner legs opening, lengthening, the outer legs contracting. Keeping the front bottom ribs moving towards the back body, lengthening through the side ribs. Allowing the shoulders to release down and away from the sides of your neck. The top of the back releasing down. And lengthening from the armpits through the inner elbows. Allowing the elbows to become heavy. And as the elbows continue to draw down from gravity, allow the palms to come together, thumbs at your chest. Touch the palms evenly. Broaden across the front chest, broaden across the back chest. So there's both height and width. Height in the torso, width in the torso. Closing your eyelids from top to bottom, rest your eyes into your cheekbones. Gaze at the seat of your heart, the seat of your soul. Facial features completely released, relaxed, still. And then studying this moment. And let's chant the syllable Om 3 times together. Exhaling completely. Deep inhalation. Om. Lifting your sternum towards the ceiling, lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. Your eyes closed, raise your head. From the back of your head, gently let your eyelids open. Straighten your legs. Be at the edge of your lift if you're on a lift. If you want to be on the floor, that's fine. This lift is a little too high for me. I like it during cross-legged. Sukhasana, a little too high for Dandasana for me. So feel free to adjust your lift so it's beneficial for you. You want it so that your shoulders are over your hips and you're not scooping in the back. Right, so some of us tend to lean back. If you're leaning back, you want a higher lift. It means your abdomen isn't really doing the work. If you're scooping in the lower back, you want a higher lift. You have to build that strength in the abdomen. And if it's not there, then you take a higher lift. That takes away some of the strain. Nice, Carla. The thigh bone still pressing down, not just the knees, but the thighs. Again, that lengthening from the inner thigh through the inner knee, through the inner heel, extending through the balls of the big toes, feet together, but also from the tops of the thighs back towards the abdomen. So it's like you're stretching an elastic band. The flesh of the inner thighs descending. Watch the shoulders. Keep the shoulders down. And draw from your outer knees to your outer hips. Compact the hips together. But again, that action of drawing from the outer knees to the outer hips as we compact the hips together, we want to maintain the lengthening in the inner leg. So the inner leg is opening, lengthening, the outer leg is contracting. And you want to see that your kneecaps point upward. And the more you can get an understanding of the pressing down of the tops of the thighs, the more your torso lifts up off of your pelvis. And from there, you can begin to lengthen or continue the lengthening of the torso, of the side ribs, of the spine, not by lifting your shoulders up, but the shoulders remain down as the side ribs lengthen. The spine also lengthening, but we have more of an awareness of what the side ribs are doing. So often we guide by the side ribs. And of course, lengthening through the side ribs also helps open the armpit chest. So you want to open the armpit chest. The armpit chest gets lifted without thrusting the bottom ribs forward. So can you lift the armpit chest without just thrusting the front bottom ribs forward? Instead, take the front bottom ribs towards the back body and lift the armpit chest more. Now we're about to move the legs. So when you move the legs, you're not going to be able to press the thighs down so much. That's going to cause the torso to sink down. But try not to just give into that. Try not to fully sink down, but maintain, because your hands are still there. So maintain whatever lifting of the side ribs you can and separate your legs. And of course you sunk. You have to, because the thighs don't press down. That's a Carla, good. Get them as even as you can. So once you're back here, press those thigh bones down again, the tops of the thigh bones. And to be clear, ultimately it is the whole thigh bone, really in the center of the thigh bone, certainly. But if you are one who goes towards the knee to press down, you want to begin to bring the awareness away from the knee so that you don't just press the knee down. And when you've mastered the tops of the thigh down, you can begin to go to other parts of the thigh. If you are a knee presser downer, you can also, we've done this in Tadasana, many of us, you can take the shin bone and point the shin bone, push the shin bone up as the thigh bone moves down. It makes less sense in this pose than it does in Tadasana. But, just because something makes sense or not doesn't mean you don't do it. And the lengthening from the tops of the thighs, lengthening towards the abdomen as well as out towards the knee, and then continuing through the knee, through the inner ankle, through the balls of the big toes, outer leg drawn from the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. Front bottom ribs moving towards the back body as you lift and lengthen through the side ribs. Keep the shoulders down. That armpit chest also lifting. This is the time to study. It's hard to study when someone's babbling incessantly. So I'm trying to put in more. I am an incessant babbler sometimes. I'm trying to put in more moments of silence, giving you the opportunity to study. So know that if there is silence, it means study. Take your hands on the inside of your knees, pull to come up. Take the feet together. I have to adjust my setup here a little bit. And so here, I don't really like my lift here. This isn't good for me. So I'm going to take a higher lift. Let's see how that works for me today. You can always experiment. That's feeling better. I have more space in my groins now. And that's what I want here. My goal isn't to sit on the floor. My goal is more space in my groins. So I have to go, how can I do that? Now, some days I am on the floor. You know, the body's different every day we wake up. It's not the same. We expect that we should be doing what we did yesterday, but that's not always the case. I can't say I fully understand why, but you know, obviously just the body changes in general, but maybe it's the way we slept or did something or dreamt or whatever it is, but it's always different. Lengthen through the inner groins. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Instead of trying to think your knees down, think them away from each other, wider. And remember, at the tops of the thighs is still the drawing back. So when you're lengthening the inner thighs, the inner groins, it's that whole area from the lower abdomen to the inner knee, right? The groins connect with the lower abdomen. I didn't understand that when I first started yoga. It was just the inner thighs. But then a teacher mentioned that. So I went to Google and I said, let me check out this groin muscle here. And there it was, connected to the abdomen. Then I started experimenting with that, right? Because yoga is a science, an art, science, philosophy, the science part. So I began experimenting with it, and lo and behold, it made a lot of sense, and it actually changed my practice. So can you lengthen that whole area from the lower abdomen to the inner knees, from the inner knees to the lower abdomen as you compact the hips together? Front ribs back, try not to lean back. And then taking hold of the outside of your knees, push together. Take a hold behind one knee, draw the flesh towards the buttock, drag the heel, straighten the leg. Other leg, draw the flesh towards the buttock, drag the heel, straighten the leg. Back to Dandasana. And release. We're going to set up for Varasana. A lot of you are going to need a block. I'll show you how I'm setting up, and you can adjust accordingly. It's nice to have padding under the knees. If you have a mat and you're comfortable, you don't have to, but it's nice to put a blanket even on the mat. You put a blanket like this on the mat. I'll show you from behind first. So the knees go together, the feet are apart. Now you want the feet to go straight back. So not this one here and not that one there. Let's see if you can get your feet to go straight back, even though the shin bones are out in an angle. You're going to stick your thumbs deep into that crevice there. And then as you come back, you're going to move your thumbs to the side and pull the thumbs out. And I'm going to take a block here and sit on that block. Now, for some of you, the block is too low. You're going to want a high block, or maybe even 2 blocks, or a block and a blanket is fine too. Some of you, the block will be too high, in which case you can, sit on a blanket, and that's fine too. But do not let your shin bones turn out. You do not want your shin bones to turn out when you do this. That is the key. It should not bother your knees. Some of you, the thumb trick there isn't going to do the trick, and you will need to place a blanket as deep in as you can, and then you can sit back, and again, you can sit back with that blanket in your knees and the block. The block can go above the blanket or below the blanket might be a little better, but either works. I've never done it that way, so let's try and see what feels better. Interesting. He asked if the block should be this way or this way. I had it this way, so it supported both butt cheeks. But I haven't tried it this way, so I can't actually comment. I will. Interesting. Wide way encourages your feet, because ultimately, yes, you are on the floor. Your heels are wider than your hips. But I'm going to try it, and I'm going to feet. Yeah, the final pose is hard for me to get to the floor because my shins turn out. But if you see, my heels are on the side of my hips. I'm not actually down on the floor because my shins would turn out. And you want to sometimes even take the thumbs. Maybe we'll do that. The thumbs go between your hips and the heels, and you push the heels out. So let's see. Oh yeah, I'm not liking that. I'm not saying it's wrong. If another teacher said to do it, I will not say it's wrong. I've never been taught that way myself, but I am going back to the wide one. And it gives me a nice firm seat for both my sits bones. All right, so if you're not in, you come up, you take your thumbs and really push in, like you're pushing forward. It's not just your thumbs are there. You're pushing in to make space. And then you take your thumbs to the outside. There's the other one where you iron your calves out, and I've often taught that one. This should not hurt your knees at all. If it does, whether you are here or at home, please tell me. How's that on your knees? Because you and I haven't done this one before together. Good. All right. Nice. Try and get your feet further apart if they can, but it's your first time doing this. If they don't go further apart, we're very forgiving here these days. Can't say I was always so forgiving, but gotten more forgiving the longer I practice yoga, the more forgiving I get. I guess that's a good thing. Take your hands to the flesh. Don't lift the knees. Just lift the flesh of the knees. Pull the flesh up. That's it. Not the knees themselves, the flesh. That's it, because they get tucked under a little bit. You're supposed to be straight up. Shoulders over your hips. Absolutely. You can just rest your hands for a moment. Can anyone guess what the tops of the thighs do? Well, yeah, so Kathy is pointing up. There's a drawing up, yes. So after you draw up from the knees to the tops of the thighs, what do you do with the thighs? Press down. Thank you, Bob. Press the tops of the thighs down. What about the groins? What? Well, lengthening. Yes, there's a relaxing, but how do we relax the groins? We lengthen lower abdomen to inner knee to lower abdomen. as well as, which I haven't said as much today, but that descending of the flesh of the inner thighs. As soon as I descend the flesh of the inner thighs, I have more length in my side ribs. I don't fully understand how they're connected. I don't have an understanding of the inner workings of the body so much, but I specifically see, if I witness, if I study, I go, oh, I'm lifted. And if I don't throw my ribs forward, I feel it in my kidney band. My kidneys are being activated. When your kidneys are activated, you can see colors better. Your eyes, the kidneys are connected to the eyes, you see better. Draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. If you're uncomfortable now, we're going to be here for a couple minutes. If you're uncomfortable now, you need a higher lift. Your knees must not hurt in this pose. Take your thumbs. See if you can get them between your heels and your hips. And don't overdo this, please. You're definitely not going for maximum, but gently move the heels away from your hips. Gently, kindly, compassionately. When you take them out, my heels just go right back. So I'm going to try and do it again and see if I can keep them. It's actually the outer calf muscle moves down. The outer calf muscle moves down. Because if you picture your knees, chances are, I'm gonna make a guess. If I were in Vegas, I'd wager a lot of money. There's more pressure on the inner knee than the outer knee. And there's more pressure on the big toenail than the little toenail. And if that's not true, great. But as you take the outer calf muscle down, feel that right in my hips when I do that. I want you to press the little toenail down, and I want you to take the awareness, seek to press the outer corners of the knees down. Outer corners of the knees down, little toes down, outer calf muscle down. Now, as you do that, some may notice that the inner flesh of the inner thigh rises up. Maintain the outer calf going down, the effects on the outer knee, the effects on the little toe, and descend the flesh of the inner thigh so that is still relaxed. And sorry for those at home, I'm not quite centered in the screen anymore. I didn't notice that, but what are you going to do? Now you can be here 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's rather beautiful. But I understand that the mind likes us to do things. So there are things we can do in this pose also. Interlace your fingers together. Turn your palms out, Parvatasana. Push the webbing of the fingers together. Inhale, come up. Extend the wrists up. Did your ribs come forward? The answer is yes. Okay, it looks, I could be wrong because the camera lies sometimes. It looks like you're leaning towards your right. So see if you can straighten. If you are, if I'm wrong, then I'm just wrong. Do what your body tells. The camera does not always tell the truth. Extend the wrists up, shoulders down, ribs in. Are you balancing evenly on the sit bones? Are you still pressing your outer knee down and your little toe down? We're going for a twist. Extend up. Inhale. Exhale. Turn to the right. Don't just turn the head. Wrap the ribs around. Try not to lean back. Shoulders, well, the shoulders aren't exactly over the hips because you're turning, but the spine perpendicular to the floor, let's say. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Inhale, extend up again. Exhale, turn to the right. Sorry, left, other side. Keep the even balance of the sit bones. Press the outer knees, middle toes. Soft face, soft jaw. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Extend the wrists up. Maintain the lift as you release the hands out to the side. Maintain the lift of the torso. Don't let the torso drop. The shoulders drop, but not the torso. And you can rest your hands. And get the legs back, right? Kathy said from the tops of the thighs. She said drawing from the knees to the tops of the thighs. Yes. And then press the thighs down. Outer knees to outer hips. Lengthening through the inner groins, descending the flesh of the inner thighs. The outer calf muscles moving down so that the shin bones are pointing straight down, which helps bring the awareness to the outer knees and helps bring the awareness to the little toes. And maintain as much. We have a whole nother side to do with the arms, right? Because we interlace the fingers together, so we have to do the other side. But I want you to maintain as much of your legs as you can, interlace your fingers the opposite way. Sometimes I have to do it both ways too. Figure it out. What did I do before? Extend the arms out. Don't lean back as you do this. Keep the ribs in as you do this. Arms up. Wrists up, shoulders down. Front ribs back. Balance evenly on the sit bones. Establish your legs. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, turn to the right. Wrap the ribs around. Not just the head. It's not just the neck. Wrap the ribs around. You can get a big massage in the kidney band here. Quite beneficial. Inhale, extend up. Exhale, come to center. Inhale, extend up again. Exhale to the other side, the left. Wrap the ribs around. Again, try not to lean back or forward. Ribs in and wrap those ribs around. Straight arms, wrists up, shoulders down. Right? There's so much going on. Everything is going on, the whole body. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Extend up, extend those wrists up, shoulders down. Maintain the lift in the torso. Exhale, take the arms down. Rest your hands. To come out, I'm going to show you from behind. This is how they recommend to do it in India at the Institute. You you take the lift out, you cross your heels behind you, your ankles behind you, and then you sit back and then your legs come out. If that really doesn't work for you, and it doesn't work for everybody, then you can shift over to the left or right, to the side, and take your legs out. But the cross one, if that works for you, it's kind of fun. Then your legs just pop in front of you. All right? So you come forward, cross your legs behind you, and then you just sit back, and the legs pop out. I'm going to try and center myself here. And if it doesn't work, just take it. It does not work. I have come across several who it doesn't work, so no big deal. But you don't want to just jump up right away. So then feet together once you're here, and press your thighs down. Do not just jam your knees down. Lengthen, and you can sit back up on a lift. That's fine. Lengthen the ear. Actually, here, let's do this. Take your hand on the inside of your right thigh. Don't bend the leg. You're going to draw the flesh of the hamstring towards your buttocks. You're not gripping, just the finger. Don't even use the thumbs. Fingers, draw the flesh of the hamstring towards your buttocks. And then on the same leg, the flesh of the calf towards your heels. So what are you doing? You're opening the eye of the knee, right? We've spoken about the eye of the knee before. You're opening the back of the knee. Other leg. Draw the hamstring towards the buttocks and draw the calf towards the heel. So the knee is opening, and then back to Dandasana. Thighs down, press the heels down. Don't let the heels come up. If your heels come up, it means you're pressing your knees down. That's an indicator, okay? Because sometimes we don't know, but we'll feel the heels come up. That means the knees are pressing down. So press the thighs down, open the backs of the knees. So where your hands were, pull the hamstrings back towards the buttocks, the calves towards the heels, lengthen the inner groins, release the inner groins, descend the inner groins, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. and release. All right, come up to standing. We're gonna do some shoulders before we get back to hips. Go get yourself a strap. Knees okay? So feet together, can be hip distance apart if you want, but again, hip distance means hip sockets, not outer hip bones. So either underneath the hip sockets or the hip bones. We've done this before. Extend the arms up, open the shoulders, going back and forward. We're doing Gomukasana today, arms and legs. We don't always do both. We'll do Gomukasana arms one day, we'll do Gomukasana legs. You know, the shoulder days, we do the arms. Hip days, we do the legs. Today, it's both day. And this one is just always good. It's a shoulder opener, right? And try to find where that one shoulder is getting stuck and see if you can move them at the same pace or closer to it. You can always take your arms further apart. And the next time you go back without thrusting your ribs forward, stop at that place where you feel like you're getting the most benefit. I used to say where it feels most open, but Bob kind of corrected me. And it's where you feel you need it the most, that you can benefit from this opening the most. Soften your face, enjoy this, enjoy life. Toes forward, Carla. Right? Just because we're doing shoulders, don't forget about the feet. And arms down. Arms up. Arms over. Put the strap down, but nearby. You'll need it in a minute. Before we do Gomukasana, Garudasana. So right elbow over left, cross the forearms, touch the palms. We're getting closer, Sean. Well, or maybe it's just the day. Every day is different, right? Upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor. Rotate the wrist so the knife edge of the hand is forward. And if you find your thumb, I'm going to go to the side. If you find your thumb on the side, if it can't get there, it's okay. But just know that eventually it's thumb next to the fingers. And maybe it's there, maybe it's not, but know that that's where it goes. Broaden across the top of the back. Watch those ribs and try not to lean back. So seek good, Carla, seek the shoulders over the hips, much better. Right, you feel the difference? It's different when you lean back.
Clarification, you said thumb next to the finger, which thumb?
So some people do this. You see what I'm doing there? And you want to take that thumb. So each thumb next to its own first finger.
So the outside being finger next to the thumb.
Right. So just like you're not moving. So the hands don't move. So from Tadasana, right? The hands aren't actually changing at all. So I did not take the thumb away from my first finger at all. Make sense?
Yeah.
Chin parallel to the floor, broaden across the top of the back. And release. And check in. It's an intense pose. Left elbow on top of right elbow. Cross the forearms. Touch the palms. I know, and it can get sticky in the floor. It's like, the skin sticks. Upper arms parallel to the floor. Forearms perpendicular to the floor. Broaden across the top of the back. This one, take it back. No. So straight up, other hand. No, that goes back and around. There we go. Broaden across the top of the back. Watch the leaning back. The more you're here, the more you may lean back. So still take the thighs back and keep the shoulders over the hips and broaden across the top of the back. And release. Tadasana. Let's swing them in and out. So swing them out and then swing them in right on top of left. If you get it backwards, don't worry about it. Whichever one goes on top, keep it there. Don't redo it. Just make sure you switch. And Bob, you're doing this. So keep those forearms perpendicular to the floor. All right, don't turn your arms right or left. Forearms perpendicular to the floor. Upper arms parallel to the floor. Rotate the wrists so the knife edge of the hand faces forward. Broaden the back, make the back wider. Remember Paschimottanasana, or all the forward bends the other day on Tuesday, we were making the back wider for those that were here Tuesday. Broaden the back. Now we're gonna fly out, release out, and swing them back in. Now again, adjust, shoulders over the hips, front ribs back. Upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular to the floor. Rotate the wrists so the knife edge of the hand faces forward. Broaden across the top of the back. Move the shoulder blades away from each other. And release. Tadasana, check in.
Different from you say, but the thumb next to the finger that opened it so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we're looking to do is broaden that back area. All right, cross your forearms behind you. Now we're going to move into arms for Gomukasana first, then we'll do the legs, and then we'll put it together. Again, if you can't get your elbows, then it's your forearms or your wrists or your hands. And you want to push the forearms into the body without throwing the body forward. So it's not this one or that, it's the forearms going forward, but the torso isn't moving at all. And what does that do? That opens the armpit chest. And then release and cross the forearms the opposite way. You have to take those front bottom ribs back. The thighs still press back too. By the way, the groins are still lengthening, outer knees to outer hips, all of that. And push the forearms into the body without moving, or I should say torso. Push the forearms into the torso without allowing the torso to move. And broaden across the front chest, and the back chest. Don't just shrink the back chest. And release. Now, if you know Gomukasana and you know that your hands can clasp, you don't need a strap. Otherwise, take a strap. Take that strap over your right shoulder. Take your left arm out to the side, turn the palm to face the back, bend the elbow, take hold of the strap, and you can slowly walk your hand up that strap, wherever it goes. Maybe it's down here, maybe it's here. If you don't have a strap, you can also just use the t-shirt or whatever shirt you're wearing. And then take your right arm up, rotate it to face the back. So palm faces the back of the room, and then the hand comes between the shoulder blades. So maybe you're here, and again, you can just take hold of the strap, right? So take hold of the strap, not showing, yeah. Take hold of the strap there, or as you walk your hands towards the strap, towards closer to each other on the strap, maybe your fingers clasp, totally fine. Now caution for those that are just kind of close. This is what we end up doing. In order to get the hands to clasp, we do this, we throw that out, because what does this do? It shortens the back. It doesn't lengthen the back, right? It's a back bend, but not a back extension. We shorten the back, and then all of a sudden the hands are closer together. Please don't do that. So better to have length in the spine, and you're not quite clasping. Chin parallel to the floor. Try not to lean back, Kathy. Extend the top elbow towards the ceiling, extend the bottom elbow towards the floor. Lengthen through the side ribs, both side ribs. The lower arm, the armpit chest lifts, right? Because we were just doing that. Release the top arm up, arms out to the sides, and come down. Strap over to the other side. Everything making sense? Right arm out to the side, turn the palm to face the back, bend the elbow, take hold of the strap, and then walk your hand as high up as it goes today. Comfortably, not maximum, but optimal, right? It'll still come out of my mouth, words like as much as you can, because it's programmed, but I'm trying to reprogram. We're not seeking for maximum, we're seeking for optimal. Left arm up, that comes right from Prashant, by the way, Prashant Iyengar. Turn the palm to face the back, and then again, hold the strap or hands together, whatever is accessible to you today. Does anybody notice how this side is very different than the other side? But seek evenness. For those of you whose feet aren't together, please make sure your toes are forward. Watch those ribs. Keep the front bottom ribs back so that you don't just go into a back bend to get your hands closer together. Lift the armpit chest to that lower arm. The lower elbow seeks the floor, the top elbow seeks the ceiling. But as you broaden the front chest, which is rather apparent, broaden the back chest as well. So just like in Garudasana, where we're seeking space, seek space, chin parallel to the floor. And then the top arm up, both arms out to the side, and come down. All right, now we're going to do the legs. I'm going to get myself a mat because it's a little better than a blanket for me. So you'll take your mat, take a block, and watch. You're going to start here, and then what you do is you're going to take one leg on top of each other, and then you take that other one out to the side. So this is the front. So this is what that was from the back. Take one leg on top, and then that other leg, this one here, go out to the side. And then you have a seat. No, my hips aren't squared, and neither are because Iyengar's in the book. So they don't really get squared, but you can seek an even balance. And you'll notice that this foot is way further back than this foot. That's not what you want, but that's as much as my hips can do, right? So yes, you'll see some people where those feet are about at the same level, but you're going to do what your body allows you to do. When you come up, you just lean forward, you undo it, and then you do the other side, and the block's already there. You just, you can take that on the other side of the block. And there I go. So what you're seeing from the front, once you're in it, right? So the block's already there. I'm just going to take my foot on the other side. Is one knee is on top of the other knee, right? Pretty close. I'm not here, in other words, right? And maybe you need a high block. Oh, that's nice. Some that will need a higher block that may have certain balancing issues. You take another couple blocks or anything. All right, whoop. So we cross over, take the other foot back. Now we have these for balance. We'll be here. We're just going to do the legs at first. And then we'll bring in the arms and do the whole pose. How about that? All right, your turn. So you come onto your knees. You have your block ready. It can be even ready behind you. And let's see, you want your right leg on the bottom first. So take your left knee over your right knee, and then take your right foot to the other side of your block. And then you come back and you sit on the block and you go, wow, I didn't know my hips were so tight. For some of us anyway. Yeah, so try and straighten. Yeah, there you go. And we do the best we can. And you want one knee stacked on top of the other. Try a higher lift, try a couple blocks. You might want a higher lift too, Sean. Not the easiest pose I'm doing today. And then you need your balancing blocks. Good. We're relatively safe. Yeah, see if you can get that other one bent and back. And if it's not working, then it doesn't work, right? You got to take care of your knees. These are your knees. So it's easier to come forward first, George, and then go back. It's hard to get the legs once you're sitting. So you go forward first and then come back. How's everyone doing? Has anyone chosen, without me saying it, to lengthen your inner groins? I hope so. Has anyone chosen, without me saying it, to descend the flesh of the inner thighs? And perhaps draw from the outer knees to the outer hips? There you go, George. Great. Great. Yep. Not an easy pose. And you can hang out here. Nothing wrong with this. All right. Then you come forward, you undo your legs. Take your other leg in front. And men, sometimes you just have to move things out of the way if it gets out there in the middle. You don't want to hurt yourself. And take the back foot on the other side of the block. And then you sit back again. And this is Kathy's actually Garudasana 2, not 1, which I find this one easier than 1. But
What's 1 and what's 2?
1 is your calves are together behind you. You're sitting on your heels.
Oh.
Together, fully together, touching. Calves touching. It'd be 1 is this.
Yeah.
And then you go back and, but I don't like it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, the poses you hate the most and the poses you need the most. But for here, I'm teaching the one that I think is a little more accessible, even if it's not the one the book says. There you go. You got it, Sean. I know. Believe me. I didn't even touch this version of the pose for my first 10 years of yoga. Are you lengthening the groins? Are you descending the groins? Are you compacting the hips? All that will help. That looks really good, Carla. I'm jealous. Your feet are even about even. All right, switch sides. Forward, undo, left over right. Right foot on the other side of your block, come back. By the way, anybody notice how the two sides are different? I'm going to give a minute for people to get in. Left over right. Yep. Yep, you got it. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then we want to get that bottom foot over a little bit. There you go. Right there. That's it. Yeah, you got it.
Is that the first time you actually went to see somebody?
Pretty much. It's a weird world we live in. All right. So, right leg is on the bottom, left leg is on top. That means right arm is on top, left arm is on the bottom. Take your left arm out to the side. Take a strap. Yeah, thank you for Kathy. So hopefully your strap is nearby. Otherwise, I will walk around here. I can hand people their straps. Strap. You don't need a strap. Do you need your strap? You're good? Okay. If you need to come out to get your strap, come out. Don't do it when your knees are in a compromised position. All right. Left arm out to the side, rotate to face the back, bend it, take it up between the shoulder blades or wherever it goes. Right arm up, rotate to face the back, take hold of the strap, or take your fingertips together. Front ribs back. Descend the groins. Lengthen to the side ribs. Lower arm, lift that armpit chest and move those elbows away from each other. Soften your face. Broaden across the front chest and the back chest. Experience the opening of the hips and shoulders at the same time. Eyes forward. That's it, Bob. Chin parallel to the floor. And then right arm up. Arms out to the sides. Take those arms down. Take a breath. Come forward. Switch sides. So undo the legs. Then right leg over left. Take the left foot the other side. Sit back. The strap then goes over the other shoulder. There's another way to switch sides, Bob, which you can probably do. You just leave everything where it is and you turn around.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for everybody to be able to settle in. Good. Good, George. Good, Sean. So the hips are not squared, but seek an evener balance, if not an even balance. Don't demand an even balance. We're not looking for harm. But if you notice all the weight is on one side, go, okay, what if I just adjust a little bit? What if I lengthen my inner groins? What if I descend the flesh of the inner thighs? What if I compact the hips together equally? And then take your right arm out to the side, turn the palm to face the back, bend the elbow, walk the hand up the back. Left arm up, rotate it to face the back, take the palms together or hold the strap. Nope. So this arm up first, and then rotate it, and then take a hold. There you go. And then you can even use your head to take that arm back. There you go. Lengthen to the side ribs. Don't drop in that right side of your body. So lift the right armpit chest. So you're dropping in the right side of your body, Bob, the right torso. So get some length there, yeah. And lift the right armpit chest. Don't lean to the left to do that though. And then extend those elbows away from each other. And then if you find yourself twisting one way or the other, ensure that your torso is parallel to the front back walls. And then extend your arm up, arms up to the side, come back, rest for a moment. I know, strong, right? Because this is where we hold our emotions are held all over the body, but they're especially held in joints, according to BKS Iyengar, and the hips, shoulders are the largest joints of the body. So when you're working with these joints, it's very intense physically, but also emotionally, because part of them doesn't want to open. They don't want to let the emotions out because we've been holding on to them for so long. So this is a very emotional practice as well. You can come forward, undo your legs. And then this is a beautiful opportunity. Come onto your hands and knees, downward facing dog. If you need blocks of the chair, please take it. Press down through the balls of the first finger and thumb, extend through the arms, toes under, straighten the legs. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Lift those hips up as the heels go down. Press into the hands, press into the feet. Elbows up, outer shoulders down. So there's some space in the shoulders now. Use that. The shoulder blades go towards the waist. The space between the neck and shoulders moves up towards the waist. Lift from the outer knees to the outer hips. Also lengthening the inner groins. Kathy, take just the heels away from each other. There you go. And then bend your knees, take your knees to the floor at precisely the same moment. Then feet together, knees apart. Adho Mukha Varasana. We did Virasana before. This is Adho Mukha, downward facing Virasana or hero's pose. Extend the arms forward, rest the skull. Take your hands underneath your shoulders. Push to come up. Everyone take a bolster or 2 blankets, depending at home what you have. You can keep your mats. I'm just going to turn it this way so people at home can see and you can see better. We're setting up for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. So you'll put your bolster down. And again, 2 blankets make a bolster, so you can just fold 2 blankets up. That's fine. Make sure you have enough space here. I don't need that much, but so your head and shoulders are here on a surface, not on a hardwood floor. You'll sit at the edge of the bolster, lie back, let your head touch the floor first, and then slide back until the shoulders touch the floor, and then straighten your legs. If this bothers your back, then all you do is you can take a second bolster, right? So if I just take a second bolster, which I will do with 2 blankets because they're here. So here's my second bolster. So if your lower back hurts, then you lie back and you take your legs on that second bolster. And if it still bothers you, then your feet can be even higher than your hips, and that's fine. Find a comfortable place for your arms. They can be Shavasana arms. They can be what sometimes we call cactus arms or W arms, whatever's comfortable. Often it's taught palms up, but if palms down is more comfortable, we spoke about that a couple weeks ago. That could give you some grounding. Palms up is opening, palms down is grounding. You can do what you need today. We'll be here for a few minutes, so get yourself comfortable. If you can't get yourself comfortable, please let me know and I will assist you. So Bob, I would say that strap is too close to the knees and you want it closer to the mid thighs.
Okay, we'll try it.
Soft throat. And you can tell me if that feels better or horrible. If it feels horrible, you can go back.
It doesn't feel like it's doing anything up here. It was
Okay.
more in the main one than for the end.
Okay. Your body knows more. I mean that sincerely. Soft throat, soft jaw, soft lips, soft tongue. With a soft, smooth breath, breathe into your armpits. Exhale below your navel. Breathe, fill both your armpits up, not just one side, both sides equally. Exhale below the navel. Our next pose will be Shavasana. You will be moving between this and Shavasana. So it's not like you can go into a Shavasana here, but in our last minute, begin to draw inward towards that Shavasana state. Use this to prepare yourself for Shavasana. And the movements between this pose, Setu Bandha, and Shavasana should be slow, Shavasana-like, even though there's movement. Now to come out, take your legs, bend your legs, take your feet on the floor, take your feet on the outsides of the bolster, lift your buttocks up and slide the bolster through your feet. So you slide the bolster through your feet and then take your buttocks onto the floor. And just for a moment to ease your back, you can cross your ankles on the bolster. Just be here for a moment. Knees out to the side. So it's like the pose we started off in. We're lying back, but imagine your legs are in Sukhasana, the sitting pose we did at the beginning of class. And then changing the cross. And then take your feet onto the bolster, knees towards the ceiling with your feet together and your knees together. Be here for a moment, allowing the abdomen to descend towards the floor. Don't push it towards the floor, just allow it to soften and descend. And bend your legs into your chest and give yourself a hug. And then release. You can roll to the right. And come up, set a blanket underneath your head as you set up for Shavasana. If you have any tenderness in the lower back, you take this bolster and you turn it, and then you'll take the bolster underneath your knees. Or you can have your traditional flat Shavasana, as you like. Letting go. You can also, if you have tenderness in your back, it's sometimes nice to take the bolster on top of your thighs. And interestingly enough, that also eases the lower back. Sometimes therapeutically we'll put weights, 25 pound or 50 pound weights on top of the bolster on your thighs for lower back pain. Let go. Rest your eyes into your cheekbones. Soften. Soft hands, soft feet. Releasing in the arms, releasing in the legs. Allowing the torso to to completely surrender. Letting the skull itself surrender. The brain inside of the skull surrendering. That the armor that we all wear, that the armor begin to detach from your body and dissolve away. Shavasana. If Rohan and his family comes in, can you have them do the paperwork and stuff? Yeah. Okay. To begin slowly coming out of your Shavasana, take a soft, smooth, peaceful inhalation and a longer, smooth, peaceful exhalation. Move your toes, move your nose. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor with your knees together, feet apart. Place your hands onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, pick a side, extend your arm past your ear, roll to that side. Rest your ear into your upper arm. You're on your side for a moment, observing. Whenever you feel ready, place the top hand on the floor in front of your heart. Turn your torso towards the floor. Use your top hand, your bottom elbow push to come up. Come up to sitting, bring your palms together. Cross your legs the opposite way you did from the beginning of class. Observe your practice. What's different? What's changed? Take your yoga practice with you outside of this room into the rest of your day. With kindness and with compassion. Kindness and compassion for others. Most importantly, kindness and compassion for yourself. And let's close our practice together by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Om. Gently let your eyes open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Thank you, everybody. Everybody here. Thank you, everybody at home. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. Wonderful to see you all. We'll have the full schedule in studio June 14th. Hope you'll come. Before then, we hope you'll come to the Tuesday, Thursdays. We would welcome you and your hugs. Hugs are not required.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Chaya. Bye, Karen. Bye, Cliff.
Thank you.